Hello everyone, Psychopath here, and today we're making a video editing PC that you can find the parts for online at the link below as always. Now today the entire goal of this is I saw online a Mac computer that can do video editing for an amazing price of $6,000, and I do say that sarcastically, excuse the tone in my voice, it's the first thing in the morning. Now, what I wanted to do was try and beat that price for as best as I could, and I came up with this build that's going to get you all the RAM you need for the video editing process. And if you decide you want to play video games and stream and record at the same time, guess what? You can do that too. Now, first up, we have the motherboard, and the motherboard itself is going to be an Asus Republic of Gamers Strix B550F gaming motherboard. This thing is going to pack a punch of everything we need, and it's going to be able to support the RAM and every bit of the processing power that we need. And just for fun, we're going to go ahead and we're going to use the Wi-Fi on it too. Make things a little bit better for everyone. Now, with that being said, this is going to be the baseline of our build, and it's a very sleek looking motherboard. I will definitely give it that. Now, next up we have the processor, and the processor, because of the AMD style motherboard, we're going to have to use an AMD brand, obviously. And for that, we're going to use the AMD Ryzen 7 3700X. It's an 8-core processor, and goes up to 4400 megahertz when it's fully maxed out. That's going to be perfect for whatever you're going to use. Go ahead and put that in there, and as always, you want to make sure that you are using your thermal paste. I know that I say it all the time, but I've seen so many people make that same mistake, and it just kills me every single time that I see that happen. It mentally hurts my brain. Now, next up we have the actual processor cooler. For the processor cooler, we're going to use a Cooler Master Hyper 212. And we're going to go black because all the other coloring on here is black. We're going to go ahead and get that installed. That's all good. Next up, we have the RAM. And like I said, this build is going to use a ton of RAM. Not for any kind of a bad reason, but more so for the fact that we need the processing power because this is primarily going to be a video editing PC. Now, admittedly, I went way overboard on the editing power here. We are going to be using 64 gigabytes of RAM. And don't worry, we'll have a graphics card that can actually accommodate that better. Now, for the actual RAM, we're going to be going ahead and using the G.Skill Trident Z RGB. And like I said, 64 gigabytes. Each stick is going to be 16 gigs of DDR4 RAM. It's going to be beautiful for this build. So, where are you? You know what? All these things can go very well together. I just want to see if they do actually have that 16 gig, which oh, there we go. We got 16 gig, we got 3866, and we got 3200. So we're going to go 3866 because the motherboard can't support it. And I will make that very apparent in the build. Like I said, this build is primarily just to use as a guideline, but this is the general build that we're going to be using. And I can tell you that online, the pricing in the game is not very reflected on it, but online, the pricing is about 1500. I couldn't get a pricing for the graphics card because graphics cards are completely out of stock absolutely everywhere. And speaking of graphics cards, we're actually going to go ahead and we're going to use a GeForce RTX 3090. Like I said, I want this as powerful as possible to try and beat out that $6,000 Mac. And I don't have any kind of issues thinking, oh no, we'll never beat it out, because we definitely will. It's really more of a how over the top can we go for a under price point. Let's go ahead and get the RTX 3090. And because we're using Asus, let's go ahead and use an Asus. Now we got that nice and installed. That is all beautiful. I believe we have pretty much everything minus the memory and the power supply. So let's go ahead and get that memory in there. And now for the memory, and I do mean storage. I keep saying memory. It's a big problem that I've had since I was a kid. I do apologize. Because this is going to be for video editing, I want to have as much storage space as possible. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a 240 gigabyte main one, and now you can use whatever you want. I'm going to go ahead and use gigabyte. The build online is Adata, but that's only because this game didn't have Samsung, and obviously everyone always says Samsung is the best. And actually, looking at all these here, it would actually seem that Kingston or HyperX Fury is one of the best. But I'm going to go ahead and use gigabyte as a standard. You're free to do whatever you want. Let's go ahead and install that one in there, and then what we're going to do, we're going to see if I can get a 2 terabyte SSD, which it looks like I can't because of everything doesn't fit. That's fine. We're going to go ahead and do 1 terabyte. And for the 1 terabyte, what we're going to do gigabyte again and kind of keep with the standard. And there we go. We have enough for really any video editing process you're ever going to need. Now, next up, of course, we do have the power supply. The power supply is going to be a Corsair power supply. The actual recommended build online right now has an estimated 423 wattage, but the build that I've done here is a little bit more powerful, and I want you guys to always be able to upgrade your cases as needs be and update your computer as needed. So we're going to go ahead and do a Corsair RM855. If you want to go way higher up on the power, you can go way higher up on the power. Go ahead and install you. Now I believe we have absolutely everything plugged in here. I think we aren't missing anything. Let's go ahead and we're going to get those the side panels back on. We're going to get all the extra PCI slots filled, which is really only 2 in this case. Now, like I said, you can always find this build online. You can modify it however you want. This is just a guideline. But now, just to make sure that I actually am worth my weight in virtual building, we're going to go ahead and turn the computer on. And actually, I realized, though, this is a brand new build. I totally just unplugged absolutely everything. What we do need to do, of course, is put a USB in there. Because, unfortunately, computers need USBs to turn on for the first time, which is entirely my bad. I will take full responsibility for that. Let's go ahead and plug you in there, power you on. I'm going to wait for this thing to go. Republic of Gamers, this is going to power up instantly, pretty much, once it's already installed. There we go, the computer runs totally fine. Guys, if you liked the video, consider dropping a like and dropping a sub. It helps the channel grow. And as I mentioned before, the description, you will find the actual part list online. Modify it however you see fit. This is just a guideline. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I will see you guys next time.